everybody out there? Welcome to the Eye Test. I'm your host, Mark Coles, and as always, I'm with my trusty co-host, Shawn Redacted. What up, bro?
Doug, that's not my last name. But what's good? How you doing?
Hey, listen, I told you that's who you are from now on. I'm going to make sure that Tyrone, our fight co-host, to everyone out there that doesn't know who Tyrone is, I'm gonna make sure he makes you a shirt that says Shawn Redacted on it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you can notice my facial expressions. I don't really look that enthused. It's because I'm not. You know what I'm saying? This is the new year. You know what I'm saying? I thought we were working on new things, turning over new leaves, but you know what? Some people just gonna continue to go down that same tired ass road. You know what I'm saying? But that's cool, man. You know what? You live your life how you want, Mark. You're a grown ass man. I'm not, it is what it is. I'm still gonna be your friend through it. Even if you want to treat me like this,
Treat you
I'm
like
still
this.
gonna like this, you know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna be cool with you, brother.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, we more than cool, and that's why I'm honoring your request. So
I don't remember requesting this, but that's cool,
Okay.
All right.
There's files. But anyway, man, listen,
yeah, let's get into this, man.
listen, yeah, there's a lot to get into today, and I'm really excited, man, because honestly, we were supposed to record yesterday for everybody out there. Today is Wednesday, January 13th, and we didn't record yesterday, and we decided to record. Like, I hit Shawn up, he got off late, and I was like, "Nah, we'll do that tomorrow. Let you go ahead and relax, bro." And luckily, the world blew up today. There's a lot to get into. You know what I'm saying? There was a four-way trade, a orgy, if you will. Shout out to Dame. You know what I'm saying?
Go for it.
And, you know what I mean? And so in the NBA, so we got to get into that. But before we get into that, we got to talk about the Lakers versus Rockets, where all hell broke loose. We have to talk about how teams are dropping left and right in the NBA. We got to talk about all these offensive coordinators and coaches being fired in the NFL, and all the new prospects of who's going to be hired where, and the tampering and the bad mouthing of potential hires is going on out there in the streets. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. So stick with us, guys, because I promise you this will be a jam-packed episode. Hopefully we can bring some entertainment to it as well, and not just be informative. But with that being said, man, let's get into it. What you want to do first, Shawn? I'm gonna let you choose today. You know what I'm saying? So you want to do NBA first? You want to do the NFL first? It's up to you.
Man, usually, Mark, you know what I'm saying, coming off of this big playoff weekend, you know what I'm saying? Usually in a situation like this, I would love to get into the NFL first. But man, there's so much NBA stuff that happened today that I want to get into the NBA stuff right now.
All right. So the NBA stuff right now. So my man said, let's do it because there's a lot to get into, and so that's what we're going to do. So first we'll get out the bullshit out the way of the NBA, and we'll talk about how COVID continues to ravage the NBA out there, and teams are dropping left and right, and the NBA is considered going on a 2-week break just so players can gather back up and teams can get whole, because they're postponing games in the NBA all over the place. But magically, somehow, not a Sixers game yet has been postponed. I could have sworn that they put somebody out there on crutches. Like, it makes sense to me. I was like, why is he dressed? He's wearing a cast. Like, I don't get it. But no, in all seriousness, the Sixers had to dress Mike Scott in one of their games, who was an injured player, just so they could have the minimum to say for the game. And meanwhile, Jason Tatum goes out, or someone like that, someone from the Celtics or someone from the Lakers were to go out, magically the game gets canceled. But let the let the Sixers have like several people go out amongst their injuries. Nah, you got to push on, friend. Does it seem fair to you, Sean?
Absolutely not. It does not seem fair to me. There's a few things that I wanted to speak on when it comes to this stuff. Is so you have a couple of things. Like you said, the Sixers is playing. They're playing like they were the first team to get ravaged by the COVID restrictions. You know, I just remember the first report that I saw was like, hey, you know, they only have 9 people that they're going to be able to play to put on the court. Doc Rivers came out and said they're going to be running Dwight Howard at point guard. Like, obviously it's a joke, but I mean, right. That's how bad the situation really was, you know? So I saw that and I was like, damn, okay. And then it was almost like, was it within 24 hours they canceled the Celtics game?
Yeah.
It was like, boom, right afterwards. And I was like, well, damn, what does it take to get a game canceled then? Because the Sixers just played last night. Like, so it was kind of confusing. And I was like, you know what? Maybe they're just taking it more serious now that it was the second case, right? So now I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's what it is. But it's kind of hard for me to believe that when now you have other games getting canceled or postponed, excuse me, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then they also are sitting here talking about postponing the entire NBA for a week or two. And it's like, meanwhile, the Sixers are still playing games. It's really baffling to me. Mark, to be honest with you, I think that part of the situation is like the Sixers are doing so well, right? And Mark, this is unfair. The Sixers are doing so well. It's almost like the NBA wants you guys to be on TV. They want you to be out there. They want it to be a money-making thing. You guys are on fire. I'm saying you guys. Sorry, Mark. My apologies. You're not a Sixers fan. But the Sixers look great, man. And they're kind of the talk. I mean, to me, they're the talk of the NBA right now. You know? Apparently, so yes. Yeah, so they're what's hot in the NBA right now, outside of, you know, Curry's performances. Like, that's what's hot. So I'm like, they don't want to lose that steam from the Sixers. They just want them to keep fielding a team. And it's like you said, it's not fair. And I feel like the NBA is going about that in a selfish way for their own selfish reasons and letting that happen. And as a result, you have things like, I'm not a direct result, but you have players like George Hill coming out and saying, you mean to tell me we can sweat on the court, up and down the court next to somebody and next to a bunch of people for 48 minutes, but then the second we get off the court, we can't talk to them. Right. It's like there's players in other situations that are feeling like this situation is kind of unbalanced. It feels like there's no solid direction that they're trying to go in. And it seems like the rules are different the rules are kind of a little iffy and different for similar situations that you feel like should be treated the same. So like, but that's on a smaller scale. On the bigger scale, like you said, you got the Sixers playing these games and you got other teams getting the games canceled. Right. And I 1,000% feel it's not fair because like the Sixers are going out there playing undermanned and they're being forced to play that way. The fact that it came to the point of an injured player having to dress out, there's absolutely no reason why games should be played that way. So NBA, they obviously got some objectives that they're trying to reach. They got something behind the scenes that they're trying to do, and that's kind of driving it. They need to get this shit in line because you can already see that with the civil unrest, with everything happening with what happened at the Capitol, and then you already got people like this is the first time the NBA players are really being restricted probably in their entire life. You know what I'm saying? Let's just call it what it is. They're millionaires. This is one of the reasons why they like being a superstar, being a millionaire. They can go wherever they want. They can do whatever they want. You're like asking a regular person to quarantine and to act under these COVID guidelines is already a hard enough task. And then now you're asking NBA superstars to do it. So yes, there's a little bit of dissension amongst the ranks, you know, where players are feeling like, yo, I don't want to do this, you know? So the NBA, I feel like if they continue to go down this road with the way that they're handling the situation, you're going to see a lot more players come out and speak about how they don't want to play.
Yeah, yeah. Just this past game, the Sixers had to play just last night. Yes, just last night they had to play the Miami Heat undermanned. They were without Seth Curry and quite a few other players as well. And to where Tyrese Maxey was starting and two other people that you kind of don't even know who the fuck they are. And
yeah,
and the Heat were also undermanned to the point of no Jimmy Butler, no Bam, and there was one other player that wasn't one other major player that didn't play last night. And that game still went in overtime, and if we have time, we will talk about that game later, but we're going to keep it to this for now, because like there's so much going on with this COVID stuff. You have teams that are just they're without anything, and amongst the time that you're talking about postponing for 2 weeks, you have the fact that you still have games going on where the teams are undermanned to the point of where Tyler Hero is the only star on the court for the Miami Heat. Is a little ridiculous.
And I love Tyler Hero, but he's like third or fourth on the list of stars for that team. Like,
right. So
like that, it's crazy. Yeah.
So like that's where we at with it. Like that game shouldn't have been played last night. And although Joel Embiid went crazy last night, but he went crazy against talent that honestly shouldn't have been able to stand up to him in the first place.
Yeah.
And moving on from that, like I'm just gonna say this, man, about this whole COVID shit, man. Like, get these guys the vaccine already. Like, I know you guys are trying to be the good soldiers and wait your turn in line and all that. But look, if anything has been proven, is that you guys, the NBA, y'all need the vaccine because a lot of these players, not all of them, but a lot of these players, they are hard-headed. They are beyond hard-headed. Like they like, yo, like a lot of these guys come from nothing, and they don't think about too much, and they have money, and they're just out here doing whatever. And like, I can't say that I would be too different at the age of 25 with $5 million in my pocket. I can't say that I would be too different than them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this isn't an indictment on who they are as a person, because shit, I probably would have been on the same thinking lines or the same level of ignorance at a young age with a lot of money. But I'm just going to call it what it is. It still is ignorance. The fact that you're out here going to the clubs, going to parties, strip clubs, and everything, and you putting other people at risk, your job at risk, behind this is ridiculous. Like I said before, Karl Anthony Towns, he lost 7 family members to this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't imagine being his teammate, going out here risk-free, knowing exactly what the guy next to me that I see every day, what he went through in his own family dealing with COVID. Like,
yeah, I mean, but you also understand that some people are just, they live in their own world. Like, you would think, just like the Dwayne Haskins situation, it's like, right. Yo, your coach just came back from cancer. Like, you would think that would be in the forefront of your priorities, but right. But that's not the way it works. But like I said, you're talking to a group of individuals who have been living a no restrictions lifestyle for X amount of years. Like these guys, and to be honest, that starts in college. Yeah, there's some restrictions, but once you become a college superstar, like you could pretty much do whatever you want, you know. You could go wherever you want. People will let you in for free. They'll do these things, you know what I'm saying? So it starts there, you know, but then they hit the NBA, that's it. You don't have to wait till your 5th year. Man, you just being brand new to the NBA, you're now afforded living this lifestyle of being able to just kind of move about how you want. You got enough money to go and do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you're a basketball player. You're recognizable. You're 6 foot, whatever. You're a giant in a regular person's world. You know what I'm saying? So like, right. it's you can't live that lifestyle for 6 years, and then people are telling you go straight home, go to practice, right. Go to the game. Like, right. Not everybody is going to be able to make that adjustment without a hitch. So this is something that I was kind of expecting. Once they said they weren't going to be in the bubble, and that they were going to, but they were still going to, carry on the season.
Well, shit, fuck the bubble, because we saw how that went. Daniel House was like married and all, was trying to get his rocks off in the bubble. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got players trying to sneak off and order food. Like,
yeah, but the bubble was because the bubble was so structured.
Right, you can catch that.
They knew security was there. They knew they were being watched. They knew that they were put in an environment towards like, we're going to try to at least give you some amenities here, you know, to keep you here. And yes, you're going to want to leave, but guess what? You know, the players knew as soon as they stepped foot outside that bubble, they were done. Somebody tested the boundaries within the first week, and they got busted. You know, trying to collect some Uber Eats. You see what I'm saying? Like it was a structure. It was so much structure around the situation that's why it worked. You're sending people back home. You're not going to send me to my comfort zone and then tell me not to make myself comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not a surprise that these things are happening. But I mean, all in all, the NBA is now trying to levy some type of restrictions or to get this in order. And Mark, the best way to put it is the NBA players have been in control of the NBA for a while now. These are the most empowered players of all of the major American sports.
Yeah.
This is the reason, I believe that is also a part of the reason why they're having these issues. It's also the reason why you have players that are coming out and speaking out about how they don't like it. Right. They don't like the restrictions, and they don't feel like they should have to follow them. Yeah. So yeah, that's where it is. They have the players having so much control is kind of playing a factor into this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. So with that being said, we're just going to move on from that and leave that up to you guys to determine for yourselves how you think this thing should go. Because currently, the way that they have it is there's restrictions that they levied on the players is essentially you are not to go, like, you are to create your own self bubble. You are not to go out. You are not to party or anything like that. Otherwise there will be major fines. When you go to another city, you are only allowed to go to the hotel room and go to the game and go to the gym and back to the hotel room. You are not allowed to do any of these other things. So we'll see how that goes. But all that could go away or get eased up a little bit if you just go ahead and flex the muscle that we know you have and just get the vaccine. Like at this point you guys are more of a risk without it than you are with it. Like, don't wait your turn in line. Get the vaccine, because hey, these guys, they're going to go out and meet a girl in the club. And then that girl is going to eventually go home to her boyfriend. So, stop
it, man.
So I don't want these guys being super spreaders out here, okay? So maybe they could go ahead and get the vaccine. That'll be great. Please and thank you. So
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But when you put it like that, Mark, when you put it like that, you know what I'm saying? I will say, man, I don't know, but I don't know how to follow that up. But I will say this: you were right, though. Like, they're not only just a risk to the other NBA players, but they're a risk to society because they were interacting in the regular societal world at
Right.
this point. They're doing it without the consent of the NBA, and I don't think they're going to stop.
And we can clearly see that they're not being COVID safe. Like every video that
Clearly.
we see, they're not wearing a mask. They're in large gatherings and all this other crap. So like, just go ahead and get the vaccine, man. I won't think any less of you. In fact, I would applaud you for doing so because I don't want the NBA to become super spreaders, especially when you're traveling around the country. So anyway, with
Yeah.
with that, we're gonna move on, man, because today was a wild day in history, um, and with that, James Harden has been traded. James Harden has been traded to the Nets, um, and with him, the trade. Give me 1 second so I can gather this trade here for you guys. Um, but
There's a lot of pieces to
yes,
that
there's a
thing,
lot
man.
of pieces to this full trade detail.
The Rockets made out like bandits,
Hold
but
up. The Rockets made out something dumb. Like so, this is the thing. Like like I said, Dame said this is one crazy ass orgy. Essentially, the thing about the Rockets trade before we really get into it is the Rockets still have a competitive team while having plenty of picks to go into the future. So not only do they have a competitive team today, but they are assuring that they will remain competitive for probably the next 10 to 15 years. So I mean they have four first round picks coming to them. And
yeah,
and they have fairly young guys like I mean, they have Victor. I'll just explain this trade first.
yeah. Let's get into the details of the trade. Let's so they can understand what's happening here.
All right. So here's the full trade details. James Harden goes to the Nets. The first part of the trade was that the Cavs get Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. And the Rockets would get three Brooklyn first round picks, three Brooklyn first rounders, and four of Brooklyn first round swaps, and 1 million first. What? Okay. I don't know what that means. But they also got, and the Pacers got. Originally, Karis LeVert went to the Rockets, and then the Rockets traded Karis LeVert in a second rounder to the Pacers for Oladipo. So at the end of the trade, the Rockets got Oladipo, Exum, Currick, three Brooklyn first rounders, four Brooklyn first round swaps. The Pacers got Karis LeVert in a second rounder. Cavs got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. And the Nets, through all that, only got James Harden. Only James Harden.
Only.
So the Nets traded away all their depth and for James Harden. So they have themselves a big three. I guess we'll see how long that lasts. But they have themselves a big three. And by definition, you could say a big three because James Harden is looking awfully plump while scoring 40 points. Now, I say that because he is still out there scoring lights out. But but man, there was on NBA Tonight, it was like, oh, clearly he had a good pregame dinner. And and
That shit was funny, man. But that shit had me cracking up.
Yeah.
I mean, even the other dude that was on the broadcast when it was like, oh, come on, man. I was like, no, come on, man. Tell that to Harden, dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It looked like he was trying to steal a pair of jeans from Old Navy underneath his warm-up jacket and shit, man. It shit look crazy, man. Like,
yeah, like like this trade is crazy. So first, before I ask you how you feel about this, you know what? No, I'm gonna ask you how you feel about this trade first, and then I'm gonna get into the history of events that happened to make that all of a sudden this trade just popped up and happened. So go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like, to be honest, for this trade, the 4 teams that's involved, 2 teams, it was kind of just a regular run-of-the-mill, even trade kind of deal. You know, they didn't really get too much, but I don't think they gave up too much either. You know what I'm saying? But then when you look at the Rockets and what the Rockets got, I feel like they got a lot. And I want to be very clear about this. With that said, out of everything they got, it's going to take time for the Rockets to become contenders in the West. So make no mistake, even though I'm sitting here talking about how much they've gotten out of this trade, this absolutely takes them down a couple of notches. And who's to say that with all the draft picks that they've gotten, that it's going to turn out to be anything? So with that said, yes, they got a plethora of draft picks, and they did get some players, which I really like. I really like Oladipo being with the Rockets, and I like him being paired with John Wall better than I like John Wall being paired with Harden. And then I'm not even going to get into Boogie Cousins' comments right now. I'm just going to talk about the trade. But yes, like I think they have a solid starting 5 with the way that Wood's been playing. But with that said, right now the Rockets are now a better version of the Pelicans.
Oh,
That's because I'm not going to sit here and discount the way that John Wall's been playing since he's been back. I love Oladipo. They're a better version of the Pelicans, and that might be a stretch. So yes, they are no longer contenders in the West, but they will eventually, they should see some growth. They're basically it's a long-term play for the Rockets. With that said, let's get to the Nets. Nets.
Before you say that,
What's up?
I forgot one of the pieces of the trade. That $1 million was the Milwaukee first. First. Okay, I was because it was broken down as 1 million. I was like, 1 million, like 1 million.
No, yeah.
It's the Milwaukee first.
Yeah. So yeah, I forgot about that because they had the Milwaukee first round pick. Yeah. So but with that said, for Brooklyn, the biggest thing to me that I seen is forget about the picks. They didn't care about that shit in no way, right? Mm-hmm. Even though they should have. We seen how that turned out last time. They shipped out a bunch of picks for some players, right? We seen how that turned out. We know how long that takes to recover from. The second they started having their picks again, that's what gave them the depth that you were just talking about. That's what gave them guys like Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, okay? They had to get their picks finally and start using them. So, but now you're looking at them giving the picks away again, and they lost Karis LeVert, which Karis LeVert, I wouldn't feel as crazy about it if not for the fact that Spencer Dinwiddie is gone. He's injured. He's gone for the year, So now, really, when you say they're fielding a big 3 with and they gave up their depth for it, having a 6-man like Spencer Dinwiddie or having a 6-man like Karis LeVert, I'm saying 6-man, but you get what I'm saying. Like having that other guy that can come in and fill in the gaps when the playoffs come, or just during regular season, that shit matters. Now you're literally just going to be relying on the big 3 to get the job done, and they're not going to have very much help. So I don't like that for Brooklyn. And I'm sitting here saying big 3 as if we know that Kyrie Irving is actually going to be playing. So With that said, I guess let's assume that Kyrie Irving comes back at some point in time. Mark, what I honestly think that this is not a good trade for Brooklyn, just because I don't understand how the ball sharing dynamic is going to work between Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD. But for the meantime, the best thing about this trade is that Kyrie Irving is nowhere to be found. So if you were going to ask me how they're going to look with KD and Harden, I think that's more dangerous than what they had before in KD and Kyrie Irving. So hopefully Kyrie Irving just never comes back, and then we get to see what Brooklyn Nets are going to be with those two guys. But I think the second it becomes a big three situation, that's where the issues are going to come in, because there is not enough ball to go around for Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and KD.
Yeah. You are absolutely right, man. I will say this about this trade is that rarely does the team that are sending out the superstar make out too much. But at least that is what used to be said for the NBA and for sports in general. But as of late, the team that sends out the superstar is getting king ransoms for their players. I mean, look at what New Orleans got for Anthony Davis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way you were winning a chip with Anthony Davis, and with this, you got young stars and something to build on. And in Houston, like, shout out to their new GM, Raphael Stone, man. This guy, he unloaded Westbrook for John Wall in the first round pick. Like, so don't forget that they got a first round pick from the Wizards, which you don't.
That should turn out to be a decent pick. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Especially watching the way they've been playing now. Like, that's going to be a pretty decent pick. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They have a first round pick from Milwaukee via Cleveland. So I mean, that may not be too high, but it is what it is.
It's still a first round pick, and this is the NBA.
And they got 4 first round picks from the Nets. From the Nets, and another 4 first round swaps from the Nets. So
yeah, which obviously that's one of the things they had to give up. You know, but either way, let's talk about this right now. But for me, once again, the bottom line is the way that this trade could go south. We're praising the Rockets right now, but the way this trade could go south for the Rockets is if they do not convert on these picks. Well, if they fuck these picks up, it's gonna look crazy later on.
Listen, that being said, that doesn't change the trade itself.
The potential that they have is greater than the potential than the Nets have, if you ask me.
You're right.
Because I feel like the Nets' potential all hinges on whether or not Kyrie decides he wants to play basketball. Because I honestly feel like their potential is greater if Kyrie's not there.
Listen, but Kyrie is there, and
is he? Has anybody seen him, or do they know where he's at?
Listen,
okay, Mark.
Listen,
you know what?
Listen, man, I want to, there's so much, and I'm all over the place because there's so much to get into, dog.
Come on, man.
Look, I'm all over the place. The Kyrie thing is going to take a little bit longer, so I'm going to do that after I get into the events that happened before the James Harden trade on James Harden's end. So, Sunday night, the Lakers play the Houston Rockets, and the Rockets are getting taken to task. This is the game in which clearly Harden must have had a pretty good pre-game meal. Clearly LeBron didn't feel threatened by this team at all, because somewhere along the line, LeBron's teammate decided to bet him $100 that he wasn't going to make this three, and LeBron showboated, threw up the corner three, and turned around and said bet while the three was still going in. Like, I'm gonna tell you this.
Despicable.
I'm gonna say this, dog.
Go ahead, man.
I'm not a LeBron fan, but that's like one of the coldest shits in the world, dog. I was like, yo, you just gotta love that. That's amazing. Like at the end of the day, I don't want nobody to get me wrong. LeBron is amazing. He is the second best player in the world, but he is firmly second best. And like that.
And when you say in the world, be clear. Ever is
Yes.
what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So like. That shit was cold, Mark. I watched the replay. I think I saw it on Instagram, man. I watched it like 10 times before I moved away from it. I was like, every time I just looked at it, I just like, come on. Like I'll be honest, Mark, if you do that to me, we gotta scrap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta get in your face. I gotta give you a hard foul. We gotta do something about this. Like you're not gonna do that in my face. You see to get a little head fake, and then he got him to jump a little bit, and then he pulled up. And then he turned around. Like, if I'm the player guarding you, you're not going to do that to me. Have me on Sports Center while you over there dapping people up after you turned around and you know the shot went in. Like, Mark, I don't know, man. Like, that's a wild situation.
Yeah.
And for the simple fact that it's uncharacteristic of LeBron.
Yes, super uncharacteristic. But like,
come on, man. That would make me mad if I was
here's
guarding.
Here's the thing. Is it really uncharacteristic of LeBron? Like, I don't want this to devolve into a LeBron thing, but LeBron, as of late, of the last 2 to 3 years, has been feeling himself.
No. This is what I'll say. Him throwing up the shot and turning around and doing that was uncharacteristic of LeBron. But you know what was characteristic of LeBron? I told you I saw that clip on Instagram. Guess whose Instagram page that was on? LeBron's. Okay, that is not uncharacteristic of LeBron. That's right up his alley.
Who posted their own highlight, dog?
Dog. It disgusted me when I saw the name on the Instagram post when I saw it, and I was like, that shit says King James. I'm like, that can't be an official account, Mark. And then I seen that Victor Oladipo commented on it and said, yo, that's cold. Like, yo, boy, you stupid. And I'm like, that has the verified check next to it, so that's clearly Victor Oladipo. He's acting like he's talking to LeBron. And then I click on LeBron's name, and it's like it brings up and it shows a verified check. I'm like, I posted his own fucking like, Mark. Now that part of it is very, but him actually taking a shot, turning around, doing that shit. So, but he obviously felt very comfortable about the way that they were beating on the Rockets.
It was only the second quarter. They was up by 20. They was up by 21 in the second quarter.
That's what I'm saying. He clearly felt comfortable about how in the manner of fashion that they was beating on the Rockets. You know what I'm saying? So like, I get it, man. I get it. But still, man.
So needless to say, after being embarrassed in such a way, James Harden felt despondent and rejected and neglected. And he went on into his press conference and essentially was like, yo, this shit is trash. We're like, we're trash. John Wall's trash. Boogie's trash. Like, I don't want to be here. Me and the Rockets, we can't work this out. There's nothing that can be fixed here. They just need to hurry up and trade me because this team ain't no contenders. Like, now, granted, he's not wrong. No, he's not. Excuse me. He is not wrong from the standpoint of this team currently constructed is not winning a chip. Now, being contenders is a different story, but and that's mostly a different story because I don't feel as though there is outside of the 2016-17 Warriors, there isn't a roster that could be put together currently on any team that would be like basically it's the Lakers here, and then whoever
Everybody else
is down here. Like that's just
the way the West is constructed right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I mean, we all thought that Denver, we all thought Dallas, and when you look at these teams, it's just like they're further off than we thought based on last year's playoffs. So like clearly, Mark, like you said, there's nobody close. Nobody's really a contender.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna get a chip out of the West.
Right. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Dallas, like don't get me like Dallas is an excellent team. Denver is an excellent team. Phoenix is building to be a better team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, teams are getting better, and amongst them, that's great. But at the end of the day, we know it's the Lakers here, and everybody else is here. And that's really unfortunate. Like, anything that you could think of to beat the Lakers currently is just you making up dream scenarios. It's not a realistic team that could be put together currently.
Well, I was gonna say with the Lakers, just to speak on Lakers briefly, is what they lost defensively, they gained offensively. There are a lot more ways that they can play offensively now. Last year, it was, hey, we played through AD, or we played through LeBron.
Right.
And everything else after that is Rondo running the second unit, and we're 100% dependent on Rondo. The Lakers, I can't remember the rookie's name, Mark, but he's been balling.
Yeah.
So you got him basically playing the role that Kyle Kuzma should have been playing the whole time. You have Dennis Schroeder, who gives them another viable option to play through at certain points in the game. If they want to play high tempo, they can. If they want to play slow half court, they can. If they want to post up, they can. Like there's no restrictions. If they want to play pick and roll, they can. It's just whatever they want to do offensively, whatever adjustments they need to make offensively to defeat a team or to attack a team's weakness defensively, they have that ability to do because of the players on their roster now. And although they sacrifice a little bit of defense for that, clearly it does not matter because these dudes are still playing defense. Right. So I don't know what the rest of the West is going to do. I mean, there's a couple of teams in the East that might be able to put up a fight, but if they're going to play like this,
right,
it's going to be, you'd be hard pressed to find a team in the West that will even be able to challenge them.
And honestly, what we're seeing in some cases, like here and there, is LeBron having it because other people could play offensively, him taking that opportunity to take a step back offensively.
Yeah.
He's taking a step, but he's like, okay, I don't have to go as hard offensively, and it's pretty much the reverse of what he was doing before in Cleveland, where he was taking off defensively so he could turn up on offense. Now he's taking off on offense so he could turn up on defense.
And boy, is he turning up on defense, man. Real quick too, I just want to bring up the fact that, like, every time I look at the first quarter score for a Lakers game, it's always looking like 34-15. They are blowing these games out of proportion in the first half, to where then they could just relax. They're able to try new sets. They're experimenting in the second half with all kinds of different things offensively. So they're figuring themselves out after they've already won the game in the first half. I'm saying that lightly because it's the NBA. In today's NBA, the only lead that's safe is a 40-point lead. You know what I'm saying? A 20-point lead is no longer a safe thing in the NBA. So don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that these are just you could just turn it off at halftime, because these teams can come back from 20 points, 25 points down these days. But what I'm saying is they have full command of the game. They have locked down their opponent defensively in the first half, specifically the first quarter. And then it's like these guys are just out there playing. They're just having fun. Clearly, LeBron's making side bets and turning around while the ball's in the air. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's happening because they're just that dominant right now.
Yeah. They're out there having fun early in the season. And that's good for them. I guess. So it leads players, particularly someone like James Harden, that like I understand wanting to be traded, because you made money at this point. You're looking for a ring. I get it, but your exit out of Houston. If optics doesn't matter to you, then that's great. But the optics of it is ugly. It's very ugly. But I guess which has been proven both for LeBron and for KD. Fuck the optics, because once you get the ring, nobody cares.
Very important to get that ring, though.
Yes.
Very important to get that ring, because guess what? When you leave with bad optics, like Kyrie Irving did from Cleveland, and then you don't get the ring, now everybody's talking trash about you. Everybody's got something to say about you, you know, and then they're going to look at you and be like, well, this is what you earned. You thought you was better than you was, and now look at you. You know what I'm saying? And now all we do is have to hear and listen to all we hear about, and all we have to do is listen to, you know, Kyrie complain about how the media does this and the media does that. Not saying he's wrong on all points, but he kind of brought this on himself, you know? So yes, when you talk about the championship, winning the championship and being like, yeah, I'm not going nowhere, and you know what I'm saying, and I really enjoy playing with LeBron, there ain't no problems with us, and then all of a sudden, the second you leave, people are like, yeah, he had a problem from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you leave with the bad optics and you force your way out of situations, you have to get that chip. I'm saying nobody, but in reality, people did care about the KD situation. Yeah. But they cared a whole lot less because he got two chips. Not just got the chip. He got the chip. He got 2 chips, and he got 2 Finals MVPs. So my advice to James Harden is make sure you go get a chip. You know what? Don't even make sure you get the chip. Make sure you're there playing for a chip, because I'm telling you right now, if they get bounced before the Eastern Conference Finals, or if they get bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals, there's going to be a lot of opinion going towards James Harden in a negative light.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
But right now, everybody's rooting for these guys.
Yeah, I don't root for them, and I don't root against them. Look, it is what it is. I'm just looking to see good basketball. I will say this: I don't think it will work. I don't think it'll work one. Yeah. I don't think it'll work one bit. Yeah. And and with one reason why I don't think it'll work is, like, just purely from a basketball perspective, there's not enough basketball to go around. Someone posted the Charles Barkley John where he's talking about Harden's game, and he was talking about Kyrie's game. He was like, it's just dribble, and like they just kept doing that over and over again while showing different highlights of these dudes just dribbling around the court. And here's the thing about that. That's what happens. Like, you're just dribbling around the court, and only one of y'all can hold the ball at a time. You can't, like that. And what we've seen from James Harden in the past is him standing there if somebody else has the ball and dribbling. Now, I'm going to put this out there because there's people that listen to our pod and be like, well, that's what he was asked to do in Houston. That's what they wanted him to do. So listen, and I say to that, to a degree, if you want to tell me that the coach told him, I want you to be on the perimeter, yeah, I get that. But did the coach tell him to stand still and be a mannequin? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that the coach said, you come as soon as you cross half court, you become a mannequin until the ball touches your hand.
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and tiptoe around it. Ricky, clearly he's speaking about you. And even if he's not, Ricky, I know that you're gonna have a response to this the next time. Especially, well, forget it. Before you even on the show, you're gonna respond to this as soon as you hear it. But you're also gonna have a response for this next time you on the show.
Well, I'm talking to anyone. I'm
anybody that feels that way. But yes. I just know that Ricky is his steam's coming out of his ears right now. You know what I'm saying? He's cursing Mark's name right now. But this is okay. Let me get into this to address what you're talking about here. And I'm going to address first with what you and Ricky have had this back and forth about with James Harden being asked to do these things and it being the coaching. Mark, this is my thing. Do I believe that's true? Yes, I do. It's Dan Toney. Okay. But also at the same time, what I also believe is we know how the superstar thing works here in the NBA. We've seen LeBron James come out of a huddle and straight up erase a play off a board and say, give me the ball. Some of the greatest moments in NBA history have happened off script from what the coach wanted the star player to do. Right. This is just and it's not just a thing that happens. This is what we expect from our star players in the NBA. We expect LeBron to speak up if he thinks that the coach is doing something wrong or if he thinks he has a better way of going about something. We expect them to speak up. So like
with what you're saying in particular, that is my second point. Because that's my second point to this is the fact that, Doug, you've been playing basketball long enough. You should be going to the coach like, Coach, I don't think I should be coming up court and then just standing there. I think maybe I should move a little bit. Is that like, can I do that? Chris Paul is getting mad at me over here because I'm just standing still anytime he has the ball. Like,
yeah,
and that's my third question to that is, if that's the game plan, why is his teammates getting infuriated if they know the game plan?
Well, because they probably expect more from a superstar. That's the leader of the team. But that's besides the point. To end that part of the argument off, Mark, this is what I'll say. You're the star player. Say something if you don't like it, right? Say something if you think it's wrong. At the end of the day, you cannot believe that two things are true at the same time. These two things are, you cannot believe that in Houston, you can't believe the reports of everything in Houston being James Harden's way. Because that was the reports, right? It said it was James Harden's way for everything. Whatever James Harden wanted to do, whatever he thought was like, everything was based on James Harden. Right. You're going to sit here and tell me that everything's based on James Harden. You cannot then also say that you believe he was just following the coach's wishes. So that still would mean that James Harden made the decision that he wanted to follow the coach's wishes. You see what I'm saying? So either way, you still have to give some of the blame to James Harden if he was choosing to quote unquote be a good soldier in that moment. So, but besides that, guess what, Mark? None of that matters. You know what matters when it comes to this Brooklyn shit? All I know is when that was the situation, when the situation was he was playing with another ball dominant star, what I know the situation has been, if there's another ball dominant player on the court with them, yes, he can go down the court one time and be ball dominant. That other player can go down the court and be ball dominant. The problem is if that other ball dominant player is getting 20 shots in a game, James Harden's efficiency goes away. That's one thing that I can say. I've seen LeBron play games where he took more shots than Kyrie, and Kyrie was able to figure it out. I've seen Kyrie play off the ball. I've seen Kyrie play off of LeBron. I've seen KD play off of people. James Harden, the key to this Brooklyn situation is James Harden absolutely has to be the ball dominant player, and he has to be the one to decide when he's giving the ball up. Because if not, history shows us that all of a sudden James Harden's efficiency goes away.
Right.
So that's just what it is. And that, I think that poses a problem, seeing as though this is supposed to be Kyrie's team. This is supposed to be KD's team. You can't be both of their teams and then the new guy shows up and everything has to go the new guy's way, or everything has to go through the new guy. I just don't see how the dynamic works out. But one thing I know for sure is if James Harden isn't getting the 25 shots that he's used to in the manner and fashion that he's used to, his numbers and efficiency will drop.
Okay. Now, with that being said, because I feel the same way that you do in that regard. So I'm going to say this. The only way this could possibly work is if there was a conversation prior amongst these players that, hey, Harden, like, because Harden wanted to go there pre the season actually starting, and KD and Irving kind of seemed like they were with it. So so the only way is if they had had conversations like, yo, if you come here, hey James, Jimmy, my man, I'ma move to 2 and you go ahead and be the 1. Like that's the only way, that I see that works out. And
do you honestly think Kyrie will want to play the 2?
No, I don't.
Absolutely not.
No, see, because that's no, I'm just speaking. That's the only way.
I know what you're saying, but that's why I asked the question.
But absolutely not. I do not think that. Because history has shown, because we've spoken on it. History has shown, they said Kyrie didn't have a problem with Bron coming, blah 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 blah. But then after he leaves, and all the reports coming out, as some of the stuff is coming directly out of Kyrie's mouth,
or out of his camp,
or out of his camp's mouth, is that he felt as though Cleveland was his team, and then when LeBron came back, it was essentially like taking the team from him, and part of the reason why he left was because he didn't want to deal with that no more. And LeBron was saying, look, man, I'm trying to, I'm ready. LeBron said, I was ready to take a back seat. I told him this. I was going to let, you know what I mean? I was trying to give him the keys to drive, but he ain't want me to get, and essentially he didn't want me to give him shit. You know what I'm saying? We've seen, and then when he gets to Boston, because this could just all be hearsay, if you will. But he gets to
the reports.
You know what I'm saying? But he gets to Boston, and his gameplay essentially backs up what the reports have been saying about him in Cleveland. We see him try to do the hero ball, even though he has a Jason Tatum and all this stuff. We've seen what that looked like, and we've seen that Boston Celtics look better without him. We've seen the Brooklyn Nets look more like a team without him. We've seen all these different versions of stuff where Kyrie has went. Yes, Kyrie is a great player. But he does not improve a team, and that's mostly because he's looking out for him. So we've seen that level of selfishness, and we've seen that maybe Harden may not be a selfish player, but by default of the way that his game is effective, he needs to be selfish in order to be effective. So
yeah, and to his credit, not only him being selfish in that way of looking for his shot first, but that the years that we've seen him get average over 10 assists, you know, that came from him being selfish offensively and seeking a shot first. Like, I honestly think that Harden is a better player if he's selfish. If I had him on my team, I would absolutely say, look, we'll figure out a way to build around you, but we're absolutely building around you, because clearly him being selfish actually benefits the team more than him being unselfish.
Right.
So yes, you're right. So the way his game is just the way his game is set up. You know?
So essentially what I'm saying is, one player, Kyrie, is selfish by personality, because his game does not require him to be so, but we've seen it that he is selfish by personality, and the other player is selfish by necessity in order to be effective. So regardless of the reasoning why one is selfish and the other one's not, you still have two players that need the ball. And that's going to come to that. In my opinion, it's going to come to a head. It's going to come to a head.
Yeah, and this is what I'll say, man. And with the
and here's the biggest problem. Kevin Durant is not. I'm not going to he is not a leader to squash that.
If he was, man, none of this would be a conversation.
Exactly.
Because both of them would have to respect anything that if you ask me, KD's a better player than both of them.
Yes.
And although Harden might be the scorer that he is,
right,
I just feel like KD is more flexible in the things that you can ask him to do on the court, and he's more pliable, he's more willing. These are the things, the intangibles is why I would say that KD is better than Harden. You know what I'm saying? So he's a better player. Even if Harden thinks he's better than KD is definitely good enough for them boys to listen.
Right.
For them two guys to listen to him. So KD would have to, if KD were ever to just all of a sudden flip a switch and decide he wants to be a leader, I honestly do not think that this situation, I think that the situation could definitely work. But the problem is, I'm not expecting him to do that. And I'm damn sure ain't expecting Kyrie Irving or James Harden to change their stripes.
Right.
KD changing his stripes is way more of a chance, has a way higher chance of happening than the other two changing their ways. So yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. But I liked your points about the selfishness and how they both have it. It just comes from a different place,
right?
And it comes from a different need, you know. And Kyrie's situation, the thing that's frustrating to me is Kyrie can do everything on the court,
right?
He just chooses to play a certain way. And that's what I've seen Kyrie make passes. I've seen him be a facilitator in Cleveland with LeBron. I've seen it in spots. I've seen him take a step back. I've seen him decide he just wants to play efficiently. I've seen him make all the right plays. I've seen him have these games where he's done that. And when it comes down to it, is Kyrie wants to do whatever Kyrie wants to do. And that's on and off the court. And absolutely, he won't even let the fact that he has a job and a boss, you know, he won't even let that change the way that he moves. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah. And thank you, sir, for setting that volley up for me to spike it down, because we are moving right on into Kyrie Irving, because like you said, he does not accept the fact that he has a boss and that he has a job, and then with the job and the boss comes a time that you need to be at work. Essentially, And it's very simple to know when that time is. If you see Brooklyn Nets as a time block for a game,
Yeah.
yo, maybe you should be there, brother. Like,
Mark, and I'm going to get into this really quickly because I want to be very clear about this. I've seen situations play out. I remember when they was trying to drag D Rose's name through the mud, when he decided to take some games off and he really didn't explain why he did it last minute. And he was like, yo, I had personal reasons. And everybody tried to drag his name through the mud. They was trashing him. And it turns out that somebody very close to him died and he went to a funeral. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and say that these guys have to just give up everything and tell you everything. But the one thing they have to do, or they should do, is answer the damn phone, answer the text, give a reason why you're missing it. Like if you don't give a reason beforehand, like you said, I'm okay with somebody saying, yo, I'm taking a night off for personal reasons. I'm 1,000% okay with that. You shouldn't have to go into depth and explain that situation.
Stop.
Listen to me. Let me get this off.
No, because I can't let you go and say, oh, I'm okay with that. I can't let that go.
No. What I'm saying, Mark, I've been in a situation where it's very sensitive and I did not want to talk about the situation. You know what I'm saying? And I had to do something similar to that, where I had to say, look, I can't give you the details because it's fucked up to the situation and the person that's dealing with it, for me to reveal that level of information. And I just need you guys to understand that I have a personal situation. You never know when that happens, just like the D Rose death situation. What I'm saying is, if you do not tell them on that day, it is your responsibility to come back the next day and inform them of what happened.
No,
okay, because eventually they're gonna want to know. I'm okay with you saying it, but you gotta come back and eventually give them something.
No, but see, this is what I'm talking about. You informing the team, in your situation of what you're talking about, you informed someone. You told them flat out, look, I got something going on. I need you to trust me and let me go handle what I need to go handle. And that's but that happened prior. You didn't tell them what you were doing, but you did the professional thing of letting them know that you needed to do something, and that you were whether they okayed it or not, you were going to do this. But you made sure to approach them in a professional manner and say, look, I need this. Please help me out. That's a totally different than because even though Derrick Rose had a valid reason for why he did it, he went about it in an unprofessional manner. That's just a fact. And with Kyrie, regardless of what it actually was, he went about it in an unprofessional manner. And so that's the problem. The no call, no show, it's it's completely unprofessional. And
well, anywhere else, a no call, no show means you might as well just not even come in the next day because you're fired.
Right.
But go ahead. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That is that's something that a lot of us aren't understanding. And there was a meme, or there was a picture of a string of text messages. You remember, we saw it in the 750 group. And I'm saying that a lot of younger people aren't understanding that now. That level of it's a professional courtesy that you need to have, unless you're working at McDonald's and you don't give a fuck. You need to have a certain level of care there. And because what I'm talking about was the person said he didn't call. He just found out his grandmother died, and he didn't call.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, he didn't call to work and all that stuff. And all that's just fine. That's perfectly I understand, like, the employer didn't have to understand the devastation, but it's it's more than reasonable to understand the devastation that you're going through in that moment. That's like we were not on the forefront of your mind. I understand that,
Yeah.
and they said, like, that's fine. Take the time that you need. Just please, in the future, let it let us know before you're already supposed to be at work.
Yes, which is fine.
Yes, like they didn't ask him anything else. Just let us know before.
They didn't even say, let us know way earlier, at your earliest convenience. They literally just like, dog, we need to know if we need to call somebody in and they got 15 minutes to make it up here to fill that gap. At least let us know before. It shouldn't be 30 minutes into your shift and then me calling you and then you're now letting them, oh yeah, by the way, this happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, now we might not be able to fill that void. We just want to be able to fill the void. We have no problems with you doing. We need to know because we need to plan for it.
Exactly.
And to translate that to the NBA, it's like, yo, coach coming up with a game plan, but you in it.
Exactly. I expect you
now that you all of a sudden not going to be here, I need to change my game plan, and I need time for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like, you know,
like there's a level of professionalism that's desired in those situations, and honestly, it's just. I mean, but that kind of stuff just comes, I guess, with a level of maturity.
Well, this is what what you say maturity. I say it comes with a level of respect.
Exactly.
Like,
thank you.
Yeah, like there's a certain level. Like, if I respect you as a person, then I'll give you that courtesy. If I don't respect you, then that's where it's like, that's where I feel okay with myself not giving you that courtesy. You know, so to me, it not only says that, hey, it's just a selfish act, but it also says that you really don't give a fuck about me and what I'm going through as a head coach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you clearly don't care what I got to do to try to explain to somebody when they ask me where you at.
Right. And it's perfect that you said, like, that level of respect, because I'm going to get back to that after I explain exactly why Kyrie missed time. So through investigative methods by a gentleman on Twitter, let me just make sure I pull this up correctly.
Okay.
By the way, I found this information out thanks to of course Ricky. Appreciate you for sharing this information with us.
Dog, we gotta get Ricky's Twitter handle or something, man, because I
follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, if y'all not following, y'all should just follow Ricky on Twitter because he be having all the news. Yeah. I mean, he follows all the right people and all the right sources to get everything early. But go ahead.
So yeah, just Rick on Twitter. That's JUSTRICK. Just Rick.
Please follow him, and he's entertaining.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying. Also follow my guys on their podcast. Wait till you hear this. And next, like I was saying, so the gentleman that I'm talking about is, and I lost it. I just had it up. Oh, that's why. Is okay. Rob Perez. So Rob Perez had it up about why exactly all this went down. Kyrie essentially went to his sister's birthday party, her 30th birthday party, and that was his personal reasons as to why he didn't play a game, because he'd rather party and spend time with his sister to celebrate her 30th. Look, I don't care what your reasoning is. I'm not going to talk about that. It's like I'm just letting you know I'm just letting you guys know what his reasoning was.
I have a rebuttal to that, but I'm gonna wait till you finish.
My only thing that I'll get on, which goes back to my original point before about getting these guys the vaccine, because this was a 30th birthday party, a lot of people around, and Kyrie was clearly not being COVID safe. So, and thus he's not available this week. So at least that's one of the reasons why he's not available this week. So
About to say, you act like he was about to show up for work anyway. Continue.
yeah. So like I was saying, this is all. So that just goes to reinforce my point from earlier, is that you got to get these guys the vaccine, because right now they're acting like super spreaders. So, but go ahead about your point and your rebuttal.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to put myself in Kyrie's shoes, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also going to try to do some little investigating myself, Mark, here. One of the things that was most notable about the picture of him being at the birthday party, with his sister, was Drake was there.
I don't think he was. I because one of those pictures, it looked like Drake, but that was Kyrie. Like, it was like the lighting effect on them.
No, I saw one where it looked like Drake was here in the forefront, and then Kyrie was in the back on his phone. So, but let's just say it's all speculation. I'm with you on that. If you say that it might not have been Drake, well, let's go with that. But let's just say that for this case, that it was Drake. If Drake was at his sister's birthday party, honestly, if he was, then obviously he was there on behalf of Kyrie Irving's request. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna assume that Drake and Kyrie's sister ain't just like best friends. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say that he was there on Kyrie's behalf. You know, so clearly, what it seems like, it wasn't just a birthday party for his sister. Clearly, he was throwing a birthday party for his sister. Like, he put together the birthday party for his sister. He invited Drake. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it seems like. So, like, I mean, granted, Mark, look, man, if I was putting together a birthday party for my sister and I invited, you know, the biggest name rapper alive to that party, no disrespect, Jay-Z, no disrespect. But if I did that, then yes, you know, you kind of have an obligation to show up then, you know what I'm saying? But I guess what I'm trying to say here, so, Mark, is
hold up, no, because I'm gonna just rebuttal to that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So if you're the planner of said birthday party, right?
Yeah.
You can't schedule this on a day off.
You scheduled it on her birthday.
No, her birthday was the 12th. Her birthday was yesterday.
Well, maybe Drake was only available on that day. Look, Mark, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, I didn't plan it, but I'm saying, like, I'm gonna assume that there was a reason why it was on that day. You know, I'll give him the benefit of that doubt. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, like, yes, you plan this party, you do all these things. You gotta show up for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With that said, though, I mean, the bigger issue here, Mark, if that's the case, if what I saw was Drake there, then the bigger issue is he planned the party ahead of time, knowing the schedule.
But that's what I'm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's not. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, the bigger issue is he planned it. He knew it was going to fall on game day. So he already had his preloaded excuse as to why he wasn't going to the game. And he already knew, like, Mark, we all been here, man. We all been here. Whether it's you're skipping out on work, or whether it's you're trying to go out and have a night with the boys and your woman disapproves of it. There's a conversation that happens between you and your close friends that says, well, what are you going to tell them when they ask why you're not going to be there?
Right.
And he's like, oh, I'm just going to tell them personal reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what happened. Like, I'm sure the conversation happened between and the reason why I'm bringing this up, Mark, because I want to segue to the other photo that revealed itself as part of the investigation. Kyrie Irving, the most recent basketball game that he missed, Kyrie Irving missed it because apparently at 7:30 there was a tip off, and at 7 p.m. there was also a virtual meeting for the planning for somebody that was running to be the Manhattan DA. And I guess it's somebody that's near and dear to Kyrie. And he thought, you know what? I'm Kyrie Irving. I have a little, you know what? I'm going to support. I want to be a part of changing the United States for the better. I'm going to be a part of changing things. You know, he's very vocal about being a part of, about wanting to be a part of change. Mm-hmm. And he decided, you know what? Tip off's at 7:30. This is at 7. This is more important. And he found himself there, Mark. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's not the only person that found himself there, because somebody else did, and they posted a picture of the actual Zoom meeting or whatever it was, whatever app they were using, and they had a picture of him looking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Hand on his chin. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody said he looked hungover. I don't know what was going on, but clearly Kyrie had already planned that as well. So once again, he's planning these things. And he's telling the boss one thing, yeah, personal. You know what, man? This Capitol thing that happened. You know what? That's the reason why I'm not showing up. You know, because I'm taking a stand, and I'm trying to support my guy. But I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm just trying to take a stand against what's wrong. You know, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. And this dude is sitting at this meeting for this defense attorney, you know, and all it is basically a virtual rally. So I'm trying to figure this out, Mark. Is it because he thinks that DA is going to bring about some change that would prevent a future Capitol storming from happening? Or I don't know. I don't know what angle. I don't know how he's going to explain this to Steve Kerr. I don't even think he's going to attempt to explain it to Steve Kerr. But here's the problem, Mark. This is worse than what KD does. KD will come out to the media, tell them all the information.
Why would he be explaining this to Steve Kerr?
Because if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm asking him.
Steve, why is Steve?
Oh no,
Kerr?
my bad. Steve Nash.
Okay.
Steve Nash. My bad. I said Steve Kerr, I meant Steve Nash. My bad. But yeah, but nah, man. Like, but either way, the point is, dog. He's not where he said he was. He obviously doesn't care. Like, KD will sit here and lie. And I say he's worse than KD because I'm saying KD will lie to the media's face. The media will literally have every single bit of information about what's going on with KD. I'll be honest with you, Mark. KD has had a leak within his camp for the last 8 years, and they've been leaking information like crazy. He needs to figure out who the fucking leak is, because every time they leak some information to the media, it's 1,000% right. So, but he'll come out, know that the information is right, and call all of them liars like he's Lance Armstrong, and then the truth comes out. But what Kyrie is doing is worse, man. Like, you're saying one thing, and then you're caught on film doing another thing. Like, you know that you're in a virtual meeting. You know that people can hit record. You know that people are going to take screenshots when they see that Kyrie Irving is a part of the planning. Come on, dog. Like, you know that if Drake's at a party and Kyrie Irving is there and they're like, damn, Kyrie, I thought you had a game tonight. Nah, dog, I'm here for my sister's birthday party. You honestly think that nobody was going to? So you knew that people were going to be taking pictures of you, but you decided that you really just didn't give a fuck. And that's what it is. To me, that's the biggest issue with this Kyrie thing. He's planning these things, knowing what the schedule is, and he's honestly just saying, look, I don't care if I get caught. What are you guys going to do about it? He is really just putting a middle finger up to the organization and daring them to do something as if he knows that they won't. So it'll be interesting to see how Brooklyn handles this situation. But as of right now, it's because NBA players have guaranteed contracts and things of this nature. To me, if I was the Brooklyn Nets, I would have had him incorporated in the trade for James Harden. They were able to get James Harden without that. So as of this point, I would be trying to find a way to trade Kyrie Irving for the depth that we gave up trying to acquire James Harden.
I'm good.
What do you got, Mark?
Listen, man. It's funny you say that. I mean, you're getting good at this, bro. I'm glad you're my co-host because you're getting good. You're getting good. Uh, Listen, because that's a perfect segue into the next point of Kyrie is the fact that he does not respect his coach.
Absolutely not.
He does not, and this has shown since the beginning. I do not have the actual quote anymore, but where he said, "Listen, when Steve Nash was hired and they asked him how he feels about the hire, he was like, well, essentially, it's like we don't have a coach because I could be the coach one night, KD could be the coach the other night. You know what I'm saying? We could do whatever." Like he's like something along those lines.
Basically, what he said. Yes, you're very close to the quote.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, I mean, it was so shocking to me that it stuck with me. So like I was like, because essentially he's just basically, and I said,
Well, shit, I had to go back and read it because I didn't believe you. I was like, no, that was before he got hired on. And then I went and read it. I was like, oh no, you were right. It said it was after he got hired, and it was specific to the question of what do you think about him after he got hired. Like that's wild, Mark. That's wild.
Like so, I was like, oh, this guy really doesn't like the idea of Steve Nash being his coach, and they tried to. And when Steve Nash was hired, everybody tried to sell it like, well, I mean, they would talk to their superstars about the hiring of their coach, would they not? And I was like, you would think, but that I don't think was what happened. If you guys want to go back to that podcast, whenever Steve Nash was hired, hear my thoughts on it then. And I wish I knew what episode that was, but I don't.
Man, you know what? How about this? Well, I don't know, man. If we reference any prior episodes, Mark, we'll just put the link in the description.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll do. That's what we need to start doing. We'll put it, especially on YouTube. Check us out. Please watch us on YouTube. If you do that, we'll have a link in the description linking those episodes that we reference.
Right. So with that, anyway, it shows he doesn't like the idea of Steve Nash being his coach, and the fact that the media knew that Kyrie Irving was going to miss the game. He was not going to play against the 76ers that Sunday night, I believe, or Sunday or Saturday.
Whenever it was,
whenever he was supposed to play, he did. And Steve Nash had no idea at all that he was going to play. Is hilarious to me. Like
absolutely wild.
Like how does the coach not know that you're supposed to play? Now, that leads me into the next part, is that Ricky, who has co-hosted here before as well, he and the guy that we just referenced earlier, he believes that all this was planned, and that's why these things are happening. I'm not of the same mindset. I do think I think it's possible because all of this stuff is so wild that you would hope that it's not true. Like
facts.
Like all this stuff is so wild that you will hope that it's not true. You will hope that Kyrie is not no calling, no showing, and the media somehow knows that he's not going to play, but his coach never knew that he wasn't going to play, and that he's making these disparaging remarks and looking crazy, not showing up for media meetings and all this stuff. He's doing all these things. You would hope that this is indeed something he's doing purposely. But
yeah, like you mean like pulling Antonio Brown with the Raiders?
Exactly. Exactly. Because one second here, but yeah. So pulling Antonio Brown with the Raiders. Exactly. You would hope that's what he's doing, because if that's what he was doing, that would be ideal, and he's not a crazy person. But here's the thing, like you said, Antonio Brown with the Raiders. We thought that, oh, he's crazy like a fox. He's doing all these things just so he ended up on the Patriots when he ended up on the Patriots, right? Like,
Yeah.
we was like, now, like, we thought, oh, he was crazy like a fox. He outsmarted everybody. Good job.
And then he got on the Patriots.
And then he got on the Patriots and continued to be crazy.
Yeah, like he got himself fired, essentially fired from the Patriots.
Right. So that's the problem, is that no, and like it turned out like no, you weren't. He wasn't crazy like a fox.
It wasn't a chess move, man.
It was just,
he wasn't moving around chess pieces on a board. He was nibbling on the checkers pieces and trying to eat them. You know what I'm saying? It was two different things, man. Like clearly,
like exactly, and like that's what it ended up turning out to be.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, it just so happened that these moves would have been perfect had he been an evil maniacal genius, but
yes.
He's not.
It was all mere coincidence.
Exactly. And so I hearken this to Kyrie because, like I've said before, these are all things Kyrie has shown in the past. He has shown himself to be this type of guy in the past. Not one thing did he do this year, like as far as the remarks, the not wanting to talk to media stuff, the not showing up, and the not informing the coach or the things that he has to say about the coach or whatever. It's these are all new things for Kyrie Irving, but is any of it surprising for Kyrie Irving? Like, is it surprising to you that Kyrie Irving did it? I'm asking.
Mark, the only thing that's surprising is the timeline in which it happened.
Right. like it happened very quickly.
Like, Mark, we had this conversation. We had this conversation before the season started about how long we think that this situation was going to be a problem. Like we talked about how long we thought it was going to become a problem between KD and Kyrie, or just the chemistry of the team in general. And we talked about how long we thought it was going to be before it started to implode. Mm-hmm. And I said a month and a half to 2 months. It's been 9 games, Mark. There's absolutely no way I could have predicted it happened this soon. But everything that he's doing, no shock at all, no surprise. It's Kyrie being Kyrie. I don't even know why. I mean, I don't want to hear anything from. I'm glad that KD isn't speaking out, and it's just people reporting on how KD might be feeling, because, I mean, this is what y'all ordered, okay? KD, you said you came here for Kyrie, and guess what you're getting? You're getting Kyrie. The Nets, y'all wanted Kyrie. Y'all got Kyrie. I don't understand why you thought that one thing came without the other.
Right.
The play, like the skill sets, the play on the court, all that shit comes with this. So I don't understand. Like, I'm Mark. I'm glad I haven't heard nothing from anybody within the organization complaining about it. The only thing we've heard is maybe a little bit of cryptic speaking from Steve Nash, but nobody in the organization has really come out and said anything crazy, and KD hasn't said anything. And I'm waiting for the day that they do, because I'm gonna have something to say about it.
Right.
But as of right now, clearly we're not the only ones that expected this, because everybody else within the Nets organization is acting as if they expected this.
Right. So this is like I was saying, like, it's not surprising. Like, it's all new stuff. I can't say he's done these things before. No. But I'm like,
he definitely wasn't burning stage before the game before.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, but I can say, like, oh, okay, that's Kyrie Like, but that's Kyrie being Kyrie. Like, that's Flat Earth Man over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the same guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
him. Like, so it is what it is. Honestly, look, I hope that it's all an act. I really do. I just doubt that it is all an act, just like so that he wouldn't be a proper trade piece for the Houston Rockets.
We'll find out.
We
Like
will.
somebody in 750 said, okay, I bet you, like, watch, all of a sudden Kyrie's gonna start showing up to games now. Like I'm really curious to see what happens.
Yeah,
like,
no, listen, I'm gonna be clear. I'm gonna be very clear. The move was intriguing enough that I think Kyrie will show up to games. I think Kyrie will buy in. He will buy in for the time being, and he wants to play. I do not think it will last. I do not think it will last. I will give this. All right, here's my timeline. I give this till April. April is the All-Star game, correct?
April is that's what it should be.
Well, April is All-Star weekend. We don't know if there'll be an All-Star game, but that is the midpoint of the season.
Yeah.
So I give this till after, like, just after the midpoint of the season. So so somewhere around April, beginning of May is where I'm giving this to. So that is my timeline. Okay, but yeah, man. I personally just don't think this is an act from Kyrie, and I do not see this Brooklyn Nets thing working. Even just from a basketball perspective. Like it's just gonna be different, man.
Yeah.
I wonder how fast Harden can shed that 25 pounds that he gained, though.
Look, well, I'll tell you what, like, it was definitely brought to our attention by one of the members of 750. Jory is like, boy, is he going to be disappointed? Because the one thing we know for sure is that Harden won't be at any strip clubs in New York because they won't be open. So I don't know. Maybe he can, but this is what I'll say, man. Like,
hey, you act like he can't call him to the crib.
I said he won't be at any strip clubs. I didn't say he won't be interacting with strippers. I did not say that. I just said he won't be able to go to a strip club. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Look, James Harden getting in shape. Like, man.
All I'm saying is out here is, hey, James, wear a mask, because when you're done with her, she has to go home to her husband. She has to go home to her boyfriend. So, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe she has to go home to her wife. You know, you don't know.
She probably had the kid. Okay, now I'm going too far. But you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying?
She has to go home to a family.
She's going home to somebody, I'm going to assume. You know what I'm saying? She's spending time with somebody, you know?
Be COVID safe, man. Don't be a super spreader, dog. Make sure you have hand sanitizer for her on the way out. So she give, 2 pumps to the hand sanitizer on her way out, clean her hands.
Be a gentleman. Be a gentleman. That's all we ask you.
That's all we need.
That's it, man. Yeah, that's it. Just be a gentleman. Yeah, I personally think this is the most, like, man, boy, do I think it's exciting and interesting to watch Philly. Boy, do I think it's exciting and interesting to watch the Warriors and also the Lakers. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. This is the most exciting thing in basketball to me right now. Is just following the every move of the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie Irving. So what I'll say is, regardless of how this turns out, I am tuning in to whatever the Brooklyn Nets got going on. But I give this newfound marriage, or threesome, if you will, before things start getting a little bit wonky, and I'm going to be very specific. I give it about two weeks after Kyrie comes back, because I think everything's going to be fine as long as Kyrie's gone. So whatever point Kyrie comes back and decides to join these guys on court, you got 2 weeks after that to when things start to deteriorate. I'm not going to say 2 months like last time. Clearly I was wrong. You know, Kyrie's gone full Kyrie, so I'm going to give it 2 weeks after he comes back.
Yeah, well, we will see how this will play out. And you spoke of Sixers being exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say we have time, so I am going to say this. I don't know how long the Sixers will remain exciting. Because last night, of course, because of the shorthandedness, in a night that you do not have the shooters that you traded for, like Seth Curry, and or the shooters that you acquired in free agency and traded for and all that stuff, in a night that you don't have them available to you, and in a night after Joel Embiid gave you a lot the night before, it doesn't quite have it, you need Ben Simmons to step up. You need Ben Simmons to do something.
Didn't Danny Green have a game though?
Yes, he did. He timed the franchise record with 9 threes and all that stuff.
I feel like he was balling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that's fantastic.
yeah.
But let me put it like this: when my team has 2 all-stars on the court and a supporting sniper like Danny Green, and the other team has Tyler Hero, we bet not be going into fucking overtime.
I'm going to assume that was a hypothetical situation where you said my team. You're speaking as the Sixers organization,
yes,
correct?
Exactly.
Okay, I just had to clear that up. But yes, but you're right. But you're right though. You're right though. So
don't play with me.
The way that you said it just rolled off the tongue, you know what I'm saying? You're just like, my team.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You sound like T.O. talking about Tony Romo and shit.
Stop it.
It's my quarterback.
No.
It's my teammate.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
no.
Look, I just wanted to clear that up. But yes. Okay, yeah. But you're right, though. Like, that shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Right.
It shouldn't have had to.
It shouldn't have had to.
If Ben Simmons is still available, it shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Right. And in this night, Ben Simmons scores 5 points in 32 minutes. He fouls out the game. He catches a bunch of offensive fouls because he doesn't I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't realize his slashing to the basket is literally just him putting his shoulder down and going to the basket. Like, I never paid that much. Like, you would have thought I would have paid that much attention to it.
I thought you were. He's a straight line. Full steam ahead.
No, let me put it like this. I've seen it. I never knew that was all it was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, maybe he has inside moves, but no, this dude don't got a Euro step.
He's really fast, Mark. Right. He just beats people to the spot. Like, but that's all you have to do when you're really fast.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem. You could be really fast and that's great and everything, except for if somebody's already standing at the spot. And somebody can easily just already be standing at the spot, and that's all you have. If that's all you could do, then I could easily just stand there. And the problem is, when you have the ball, when you're the person that's bringing the ball up the court, you're the person that's holding the ball, then all I need to do is make everybody else unavailable to you. That's all I got to do, is make it to where nobody else is available to you. Like, Ben Simmons, and it's becoming increasingly clear I mean, it was already clear to me from the jump, but it's becoming even more so that Ben Simmons has to be a power forward. He cannot be the person with the ball in his hands. Like, you have no moves. You have nothing. Like, you are.
Ah, man, you no moves. Go ahead, finish.
So, what's his move?
He doesn't have a signature move, but he has handles.
Yes, he could. So he could dribble the ball. But what's his move?
What the fuck? No, he can dribble past people. He act like he don't got a crossover. Like, what do you mean? What's his move? He don't have a signature move.
Does he?
What is that? What you talking about?
So, like, let me put it like this.
Please.
If he has a defender and there's somebody else in the lane, what is he doing to get around these people? What's his moves? Does he have a Euro step?
Man,
does he have a Euro?
I've seen him Euro step. Does you act like you act like he doesn't do these things.
Does he have it on command?
So the man had a bad night with with offensive fouls, and now you want to crucify him, Mark.
Listen. I'm not trying to crucify him. I'm just asking legitimate questions. I'm asking legitimate questions because
everything that you're saying is things that he can do. Now, if you're trying to ask me why he's not doing them when he needs to, I don't know, Mark. I don't know why he's not doing these things when he needs to. I don't know why he's out here getting a bunch of offensive fouls. I don't know, but I know a few things about him. He's very fast. He's quick. He has ball handling skills, and he can go around people. Okay. Now, if he decides one night he's not going around people, I can't help you there, Mark. I don't know what you want me to do.
But these are my questions. Like, my questions is because I feel as though I'm crazy because I was like, I could have sworn this dude had a Euro step.
I've seen it. I don't understand what you
like. That's what I'm saying. But look, I've also seen him shoot a three. But magically,
don't do that. 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 Nah, man. Nah, man. Don't do that. Don't compare that shit to the 3-pointer.
I've seen him shoot a jump shot and magically disappears.
Mark, I'm gonna be honest with you. Man. I can't get down with the Ben Simmons slander today. The brand of slander that you bring in to the show today, I can't get down with it, man. Look, I am giving him the full 100% benefit of the doubt. So he had some offensive fouls. Okay, maybe they're more than what you expected him to have, and maybe they came in a way that you thought they shouldn't have came, considering his requisite skills. I get it, dog. Let that man have his off day in peace, bro. Let him have his off day in peace, Mark.
Yo, listen.
Let him have his off day, dog. Everybody has an off day.
No, listen. You can't.
What?
You can't shoot. You're not allowed. Okay. You're not allowed to have a. Yo, if all you can do is go to the basket, that needs to be. That needs to be 100%.
Look, I understand Look, I understand what you're saying. If you can only do one thing, I need you to do that one thing. But what I'm saying is, dog, he's still a human being, though. He's still a human being, Mark.
Yo, when have you ever seen Jordan not be able to dunk? Like when have you ever seen it? Like that.
I've seen him miss dunks all the time.
No, I didn't say miss the dunk. I'm saying, when have you ever seen him fail to jump?
Look, man. No, Mark, man. I can't. Look, man, I can't let you do this to Ben Simmons. I can't let you do this, Ben Simmons, dog. Let him have his off day in peace, Mark. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be team slander today, okay?
Listen,
I'm not going to be a part of this. You say what you got to say and get that shit off your chest. I'm chalking it up as Ben Simmons having an off day. I'm not going to crucify him. I'm going to let him have his off day in peace.
Hey,
if this becomes a problem down the road, Mark, if this becomes
let me help you understand
a recurring problem, then we can talk about
it. Let me help you understand something. Have your off day at the 4 position, nigga. Get off the 2. Get off.
Come on, man.
Have your off day at the 4. Listen, yo, no, no, for real. in all seriousness, for real, this dude does need to be at the 4. Like, because essentially, this is who we're describing. We're describing, like, he plays defense. He's super athletic.
Well, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, like
I know where you're going with this, but keep going. I'm not even going to stop you. I'm not even mad.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? He has defense. He's super athletic. You know what I'm saying? He beats people off the block, all that stuff. He
can guard multiple positions.
Yes, he can guard every position on the court. You know what I mean? Like, this guy
Say it.
is Dennis Rodman. He is Dennis Rodman with handles and facilitating ability.
Thank you.
That's who he is. And there's nothing wrong with being Dennis Rodman with handles and facilitating ability, because Dennis Rodman was an all-star. Dennis Rodman was a superstar.
What I was going to say to you, Mark, is if you look at the young Dennis Rodman within his first 3 to 4 seasons with the Detroit Pistons, Dennis Rodman himself was a young athletic player, and he did have obviously doesn't have the court vision that Ben Simmons have, but yes, he was a playmaker,
right?
And young in his career, and he could at least get the layups. He was a finisher, and he could actually do a little bit of mid-range shooting.
Right. Now here,
so you're right. You're right. Go ahead.
But here's the thing about that, though. Like, people are like, but that facilitating ability, blah 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 blah. Listen, that's phenomenal facilitating ability. But, like, if I was creating a player, like, he's clearly a power forward. He's a giant. Like, his rebounding is great. He can do all these things, and yet you got him playing out of position. Like, look, how great would it be? How great would it be if you had a power forward who got the rebound and passed it directly to the guy that was wide open, and not only did that, but he passed it in, but he did the perfect pass to the guy that was open for the shot. How phenomenal would that be? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So, I got a question for you, Mark. So are you saying to me, because just judging from your description, so what you're saying to me is that, because you say he should be played power forward, right? So are you saying to me that he is Giannis Antetokounmpo with court vision and the ability to guard more positions?
No.
Because that's what it sounds like you saying, Mark.
No.
You saying?
No, because listen.
What are you saying?
Here's the thing. I like Giannis more than I like Ben. You want, and here's the reason why.
Go for it. Here we go.
Here's the reason why. We have seen multiple games. Like, we have seen multiple games in which Giannis his efficiency rating would be like 55%. But, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't see it all the time. But you see his efficiency rating be 55%. He's hitting his threes. He's hitting his twos. His post moves is on point. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's using his body correctly instead of he's doing the things that he needs to do to improve his game, and he's not playing out of position.
Okay, so and real quick, the only thing. Okay. And that's the only reason why I brought up the Giannis point. It was so that you can make the comparisons, because Giannis is somebody who, he might not have the jump shot. He might not have these things. He's a power forward that's a slasher, essentially.
Right.
That's the way that Ben Simmons could be used. And I feel like I brought this up before, where I said that Philly should use Ben Simmons in that manner of fashion, or that they could use him in that manner of fashion. And the biggest thing to me is, I don't understand. Like, Mark, I thought we were in 2021 now. Shit, even 2020. Like, is Jokic not a big man? that could essentially average 7 to 8 assists throughout the course of a 7-game series. Right. I don't understand why you should not be saying that, hey, well, because you're a big man, you can't facilitate from the big man position and be our main facilitator or be our leader in assist. You can. It's already been proven. People are already doing it. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I understand if the Pelicans don't want to put Lonzo at power forward. He's not big enough.
Right.
He's not, to me personally, he's not strong enough. And then he's 6'7". He's not 6'10". You see what I'm saying? I understand why Lonzo was a point guard. I don't understand why Ben Simmons can't be a power forward. And I'm with you on that. I don't got much else on Ben Simmons, but that's what I'll leave you guys with right there. Is we already have big men that facilitate more than anybody else on their team.
Right. Like he could easily be that if he would allow himself to be. Like, duh, but as of right now, you're playing out of position and you're killing your team. Next, let's get into football, man. Let's finally do it.
All right, let's do this.
Let's move on. All right. So, teams are being hot. Team coaches are being fired, and teams are doing the hiring right now. One such team that is in hot water because of who they're trying to hire and is the Houston Rockets, man. Excuse me. The Houston Rockets they're out here.
You're saying Rockets? Do you mean the Texans?
Yes. See, I'm you right now. I'm
definitely off. You know what I'm saying? You off a little bit, baby. You off a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Well, so much movement in Houston. They don't know who they are. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say both of the franchises don't know what the hell they're doing. But yes, yeah, I get what you're saying. They're mishandling players left and right. It's easy. It's really easy to confuse the two Houston teams.
Right.
But go ahead.
And we was just talking basketball. You know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's not like we weren't, like, you said Steve Kerr and we weren't talking about the Warriors at any point.
Clearly, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I guess if I can get a mulligan, you can get a mulligan.
Right.
All right, let's move on.
So Houston Texans, excuse me. Yes. They pissed off their star quarterback, man. They told him that he would have some say in what they would do for the hiring process. He gave them a list of names. Bam. Here, I'd like you to consider these GMs, please. And he didn't say hire this GM. He said consider these GMs and consider these coaches, if you don't mind. Please and thank you. They said, that's cool. Thanks for the list, but fuck you. And they threw that shit out the window because
absolutely out the window, dog.
And because they went ahead and hired a GM right off the bat, right away, without even interviewing one GM that he would have liked them to consider. And here's the issue with it is because the team themselves don't owe Deshaun Watson anything when it comes to the GM, who they hire, blah 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 blah.
Facts.
The problem is you offered him a say in what is going to happen next, and it was just lip service.
Yeah. So now there's broken trust. You promised him something, and then you absolutely ignored to deliver on that. Like you just like fuck it. Yeah, we say whatever we need to say to you to get you out of our office. Get out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, sure. Give us a list. Give us a list of whatever GMs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then immediately it was like, fuck your list, man. I'm throwing this shit out. I'm going to hire this GM. And now this GM is behind the 8 ball because now he already just coming in has a quarterback that wants the fuck out. So this is the type of stuff that can only happen in broken organizations like the Houston Texans, once upon a time, the Cleveland Browns, And but now new to the genre of broken organizations.
Man, they're trying to take the crown, Mark. Let's keep it a buck. The Houston Texans are absolutely trying to take the crown for the worst organization.
Listen. They may be, but I have a couple teams that are in the runner that are strongly in the runner-up position. Unfortunately, because one such team is my team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh man, we digging into that now?
Listen,
there's so much to unpackage, Mark.
Listen,
where do you want to start?
I feel as though I should look, man. Hold on. Just
gather yourself, get comfortable, whatever you need to do.
People. You know what I'm saying? 1 second, okay? And we are back. Alrighty, people. I had to go ahead and put on the Philadelphia Eagles hat for you guys, just so you know that I'm still one of you, and that I say these things with love when it comes to the Eagles. I'm not a hater. I still love my team. This is just all factual, and these are all issues that are going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, recently, there's been a lot of information coming out about the Philadelphia Eagles and how piss poorly this organization is actually run and why it's being ran into the ground so much as of late. So, John Ritchie was recently on the Colin Cohort TV show on FS1. And for those of you that don't know who John Ritchie is a former Philadelphia Eagle fullback and current Philadelphia local sports radio host on 94.1. And with this, he revealed some information that that what the owner that we think we have in Jeffrey Lurie, as in the non-metal sim owner that lets his coaches and lets his GM work and do their thing, and doesn't really get involved in the day-to-day, is not that guy at all. And we have seen and heard supporting evidence to these things prior to John Ritchie revealing this fact.
Yeah, little hints and clues and little breadcrumbs. Yep.
They have been leading to this. One such thing is that the JJ Arcega-Whiteside drafting was Jeff Lurie's draft pick. He wanted JJ Arcega-Whiteside. And thus, that's how we ended up with a guy that probably shouldn't have never touched the NFL soil. But, and then there's the Jalen Reagor stuff and all these things that says that these guys are, they are, I hate this term, but it's used often, is that they're the ones buying the groceries for the chef. They are not the ones cooking the meal, but they're the ones buying the groceries. So, and you gotta hate this stuff, man. When it comes to the Eagles, Doug Peterson is not mostly a mediocre coach. And the reason why he was hired was so that they could have a little puppet, someone that they could control. And because he was new and wanted and just wanted to cut his teeth in the league, that's why they hired Doug Peterson originally, is so that they could have their guy that they could control. And one such report said recently that one of the reasons why Doug Peterson wouldn't really care if he was fired was because he wanted some say. He wanted to be able to actually coach the team and have some say in the going on within the organization outside of just game day. And another report said that one of the reasons why he didn't want to give up offensive play calling is because that was one of the few things he actually controlled on the team. Like, so there's all these different things that shows that the problem starts at the highest level, and when your problem is with your team owner, you are looking at being the Dallas fucking Cowboys, and that's sad. That's truly sad. At least the Dallas Cowboys pulled a miniature dynasty out of it. Like, all we got was one Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
so if all we get is one Super Bowl, and now we have 25 years of shitty luck, and that'll continue to go like the Dallas Cowboys, then that's terrible, man. I'm not looking forward to this. I have went scorched earth on Howie Roseman and his picks in the past and the way that he runs this organization. But if Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie are lock and step in the way that they run this organization, hand in hand, skipping down the lane, taking us to hell, then guess what? This is terrible. Like, we are in for it, because that means Howie Roseman will never be fired. We will never see a competent GM, and that it doesn't matter what happens. The next coach is going to be a puppet too, and we'll just have to deal with it. The future looks bleak, Eagles fans, as of right now.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen for us, but at the very least, at least I could say we finally got one on the board. Thank you, Lady Luck. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
For anyone that's out there that wants to hear how I originally went in on Howie Roseman, or how I told you guys to expect this from Doug Peterson, you could go back to our second episode ever, which was coaches ranking list, and then you could go to episode 3 or 4 about Howie Roseman. So, and you will see there that I saw this, the writing was on the wall. All right, that's my little epilogue or soliloquy, if you will, about the Eagles organization. That's all I got for you guys. I don't want to give too much energy into it, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have this conversation again when they blow this draft pick in this upcoming draft. I'm sure we'll be here again. I'm sure we'll be here again when they hire the wrong coach. All
I gotta say, Mark, is if Devontae Smith drops down to the 6th spot, if y'all don't take him, I'm telling you, Mark, I'm probably, if we're not covering the draft, then I'm gonna give you a call. If we are covering the draft, man, we might as well just cut the feed, because I don't know if the rest of the draft footage is even going to be salvageable, because I'm sure you're going to feel a certain way and you're just going to be emotionally taken out of it. So
are they going to
that's what I do know.
Well, no, if I know that they were supposed to run it back, and are they going to be in Vegas this year? Do we know?
I think that is not determined yet. I'm not even sure. That's something that I'll look up here in a little bit.
Yeah, because if they're in Vegas, I'll be there, and you'll be having to restrain me from
like, I don't need you rushing the stage. I'm gonna say, we don't need you rushing those stages or nothing. Look, right, man, we'll figure it out though. But I will be on a high alert once they start to name whoever the Philadelphia Eagles take at the 6th spot. So yes.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's a lot of but taking things away from the Eagles.
Well, let me just. I want to give my thoughts on the Eagles situation on everything you just said, because it's not very long. But Mark, when I talked to you earlier, this is what I was hinting towards. When I said it looked familiar, there's 2 scenarios that look familiar to me. First one being the Niners situation. We went through this. We obviously, the owners that we have now are not the owners that we had back in our golden years. And one of the things that our owner, Jet York, did was he hired Trent Baalke. He had a good relationship with Trent Baalke. Jet York was basically behind giving Kaepernick the money early that I thought that he shouldn't have gotten. He was behind Trent, obviously the Trent Baalke hiring, which is just somebody that he happened to be cool with. Now, Trent Baalke was responsible for all of the dissension between him and Jim Harbaugh, you know, and he was the one pulling the strings for the owner to say, look, we need Kaepernick to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? We need him to do this. We need to stop him from running. We need to change the offense against the wishes of Jim Harbaugh. I sat here and had to live it. And then you know what happened? At the end of the day, Mark, who did they fire? They didn't fire him essentially, but yes, they did. They forced Jim Harbaugh out of the organization. And when I say they, I literally mean Jed York said, look, Trent Baalke, this is your world. You do what you want. And that's what happened. He got forced out by the owner and the GM. And then it wasn't until another 2 years passed that the owner realized, hey, you know what, man? The GM is fucking up my money. The GM is out here destroying the team. Even though you're my boy, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I let you get the extra 2 years. I'm letting you do your thing of what you wanted. You told me that Harbaugh was the problem. And now it turns out that you was wrong. So therefore, I was lucky enough to see my owner wise up and say, you know what? I made a mistake in trusting this guy. And I made a mistake in being too involved. And you know what? Since then, our owner has been hands off. He went and hired somebody that can do the job correctly in John Lynch for GM. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to let you and the coach figure it out, because the relationship between the coach and the GM is more important than the relationship between the GM and the owner. If you're talking about winning, that's what he did. We got lucky. We're one of the few that got lucky with that situation. But that's definitely one of those situations that reminds me of. And the other situation reminds me of, on the negative side, is obviously the Dallas Cowboys. You're looking at a situation where you hope that your situation plays out the way that the Niners situation did. But to be honest, Mark, it's looking more like it's going to be a Dallas Cowboys situation. Whenever the owner wants what he wants, he's going to go after it. The owner is also going to have these strange, I don't know if you want to call it inappropriate relationships, but inappropriate relationships with the players.
Yes.
And that's going to dictate the way that the way that you guys draft, and it's going to dictate the way that these situations play out between the players and the coaches whenever there's a problem. So therefore, like I said, I just wanted to mention that I've seen it, and it could go one of two ways. Either you end up being the Niners or you end up being the Cowboys. And for your sake, Mark, you know what I'm saying? I hope that y'all end up like the Niners and not the Cowboys.
Yeah, I hope we end up like the Niners as well. And because you're wishing well on us, I'm not going to take the obvious jab that's there, and I'm going to let it be.
Dope. All right, let's go.
So, but yeah, man. With that being said,
real quick, the draft location is actually going to be in Cleveland.
Who the fuck wants to go to Cleveland? Like,
I don't know. Somebody made it. I be honest with you, I'd rather it be in Canton than be in Cleveland. But maybe I'm disrespecting Ohio. I don't want to do that. So
what the fuck is in Cleveland? That's trash.
The Browns are in Cleveland, Mark, and clearly they're not trash.
Okay.
We're not there yet in the topics, but unless you really want to go there, but
no, no, I really don't. Listen, I really, really don't. But all right, look, man, we don't have too much time left for you guys. So with that, we're just going to run off very quickly. In your mind, we know what the fuck happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We absolutely know what happened.
We know what happened.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
We've spoken about this before.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers got railroaded. We talked about the problem within their offense before. We talked about it several times, so you guys just go check that out. And next, of it was one bad snap and 4 interceptions later. This game sits solely on Ben Roethlisberger as the reason why they lost. 4 interceptions from Ben Roethlisberger. The defense didn't underperform, but they were constantly put into bad spots. And when you give the team, anytime that the defense actually had decent field position, they forced the eventual punt. So the problem was he kept giving up interceptions, man. Like, that's tough for anybody.
There was a lot of tip balls, and I'm like, yo, you can't throw the ball downfield 20 yards on a rope,
right?
If there's not a passing lane. This is just regular quarterback 101 shit. Like, the reason why they tell you to look for the passing lane and make sure no bodies are there, because all it takes is for one person to stick the hand up.
Yep.
And that's what kept happening. So these are, all on Ben.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, Shawn, are we in concert with saying it's time to move on from Ben Roethlisberger?
Yes. Not only are we in concert with saying that it's time to move on from Ben, for those of you guys that didn't join us on our live stream for the playoff games this past weekend, we talked a lot about where we thought Watson should go, and I think we all came to the conclusion. Well, maybe not Mark, but a lot of us came to the conclusion that the Steelers would be a great landing spot for him. I think it would be the best. Mark decided on Washington, but either way you put it, the reason why I'm saying it should be a great landing spot and that should happen is because they absolutely should be moving away from Big Ben. And we both understand, Mark, that Big Ben is a person that you're going to have to force out of the door. You have to. I understand that's not what the Steelers do, but they need to force him out of the door, or else what happened in this Cleveland game is going to be their future for the foreseeable future until Ben retires. So now, when you got a guy that is not happy with the situation, like a Deshaun Watson, who is a guy that you're not going to be able to get a talent like him just drafting folks, you absolutely should make that move now. It is a move that the Steelers should make, and it's a move that, I mean, at this point, if you're the Texans, you should make whatever move that you possibly can to get something out of this ordeal. But yeah, go ahead, Mark.
No, what I was going to say was that I don't have a problem with Deshaun Watson going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't think it's highly likely that.
No, it's not likely at all.
I think the likelihood lends itself more to the Washington football team. If that was to be any type of move, I would think the likelihood leads to the Washington football team. So that's what I would say.
That's fair.
But yeah. But with that, it's beyond time to move on from Ben. You should have been preparing for this for the last 2 years, but now you're kind of facing down the barrel of a situation to where whoever your draft, you probably need to be ready for them to start next year, at some point, because you don't know.
They're lucky that they got through the season with a healthy Big Ben this year. This is the first healthy season he's had in a very long time.
Exactly. So you don't know if he's going to play next year. You don't know. You don't know whether he'll finish the season next year. So whatever quarterback you draft, he has to be game ready when you draft him.
Mason is not it. Mason Rudolph is not it. Josh Dobbs is not. He's not it. You guys don't have a quarterback on your roster. I don't care how many people you have listed at the position. You don't have a quarterback.
Not at all. So it's beyond time, man. We've talked about the Seahawks problem before, correct? about
Yes.
like again, this is like a Ricky centric episode somehow because like Ricky brought up, well, he brought to our attention about how one dimensional Russ can become. And that's pretty much what he did all season, which is, and it showed in this playoff game as well, because Tyler Lockett, where the fuck was he? Where was anybody outside of DK? Like Will Disley made an appearance here and there, but still, it was the DK Metcalf show. Now I'm going
DK or bust. DK or bust.
I'm going to ask you this: do you think it's the diva in DK, or was this just Russ being Russ?
I think this is Russ being Russ, and I'll be honest with you. If you look at Russ's past, whenever he finds a wide receiver target that he likes, they get targeted. Golden Tate has never seen the amount of targets that he's seen in Seattle. Doug Baldwin got a lot of targets. Tyler Lockett became the next guy in that role. And then now it's DK. The legacy just continues, Mark. And the reason why I'm going to go ahead and rule out the possibility of it being DK Metcalf. Every single thing that I know about DK Metcalf off the field and in his personal life and also in the locker room and on the field is that he is one of the most selfless people in the world. Basically, that's what all his teammates basically say. He's a humble guy. He's just a humanitarian type person. He's just the guy that everybody likes, that is just in there. He's like, even though he's the fastest guy, he's a physical specimen, and people look at him as some type of a wide receiver god when it comes to just his physical God-given abilities. He doesn't see himself that way. He's just very humble about everything, and I just don't see this as that person. That can't be a person that gets on the field and just says, you know what, give me the fucking ball. Like, I don't see that being the situation. I don't see that being as personally. Clearly, it's speculation. I could be wrong, but I'm going to rule that out. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is more of Russell Wilson continuing what he usually does and what his past history with wide receivers has been with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll take it. I will 1,000% take it.
Yeah.
With Russ, so I will say this: I've read a lot of guys that are Seattle Seahawks fans. I read a lot of you guys praising the fact that you fired your offensive coordinator, and you're like, well, now let's go after Eric Bieniemy. Two problems. Your offensive coordinator isn't the person that is being one-dimensional with throwing the ball. Like, he's not doing the one read and focusing on one person. That's your quarterback. So that's one. So don't expect that to change too much. And two, if you ever think in your life that a winning offensive coordinator is going to make a lateral move to a team, to a non-Super Bowl team,
to become another coordinator,
then you're ridiculous.
He's looking for a head coaching job. That's what it is. And the only way he, like you said, the only way he takes another OC job is if he's going to a team that he can add to his legacy. And really, that would only be so he can launch himself into a better position to be a head coach. The ultimate, the name of the game here is to become a head coach.
Yeah. So you guys don't have an understanding of the situation if you think those are that's what's going to happen. I'm gonna let you guys know that right now.
He ain't got a shot. It's the reason why Kyle Shanahan is coaching the Niners.
Right.
There ain't no way we would have been able to hire him as OC because that, he ain't taking an OC job,
Exactly. And so moving on again. Um, the rest of the playoffs pretty much ended exactly how we saw it. To where the team that should have won, and the team that should have lost. So it's no real need to explain those type of things. But I will say this: who do you have winning this weekend? Like, who's your dark horse team?
Ooh, okay. So I'm just gonna spit out the matchups for those that don't know. You have Packers, Rams, Saints, Bucks. You have Chiefs, Browns, and you have Bills, Ravens. And to be honest with you, I don't know how much of a dark horse this is, but I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. Mark, to me, I have one upset that I feel like is going to happen, and that's what I'm going to go with for my dark horse, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know I said preseason
they're going to lose, or are they going to win?
They're going to win.
Okay,
they're the lower seed. They're gonna win this game versus the Saints. Before the season started, I said that the Bucks would not make it to the NFC Championship game. I might be wrong here, Mark. And the reason why I'm picking them as my dark horse is the thing about Tampa Bay is, yes, we all know that they struggle when it comes to them playing against mid-level to high-level defenses, and Saints have a great defense. But what I do not trust in this situation is the Saints offense, Mark. I was not impressed by what happened last week. I'm still not impressed by what Drew Brees is capable of, considering his injuries and the fact that I just think that Father Time is caught up. And right now, the Bucks have a lot more continuity, a lot more chemistry on offense than they had in the beginning of the season when they lost twice to the Saints. So therefore, in both of these games that they played against the Saints were barely able to score 20. I don't know if the Saints can score 20 this week coming up. Maybe they can. Michael Thomas is on the roster, but I just think that this is going to be a game where 20 points is not going to be enough for the Saints to pull out a victory.
All right. Understandable. And understandable. For me, my dark horse team, I agree with you that the Bucks will beat the Saints, but I told you that before in the episode before.
Yeah.
And so therefore, it's not really a dark horse team for me. But a dark horse team that may be a possibility is the Rams. The Rams have a healthy Cam Akers. That is scary for a team like
he's nice.
That is scary for a team like the Packers, who historically can't stop a cold when it comes to running. They can't stop a runny nose. Like, nah, that's
definitely not a running back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like that shit is going to just keep going. So like y'all better buckle up, Buttercup, because you're going to need all of the air it outs to Devontae Adams if Cam Akers starts going.
Yeah, this Mark, I honestly feel. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, because here's the problem. When it comes to Cam Akers, you're going to have a situation to where this guy is going to. The Rams has the potential to control time of possession with Cam Akers being able to take over if he gets going. And if they control time of possession, that means you're going to be stuck playing very one-dimensional because you don't have a lot of time to mess with. So, and we know that Jalen Ramsey is the one surefire lockdown corner in the NFL. Now, there's other guys that like Marshawn Lattimore that can lock down people and stuff. Yep. But Jalen Ramsey is the one guy that does not get abused by anyone on any particular day.
Mark, what I was going to say, one thing I'm going to mention now is we haven't talked about it, all year, all season, but man, like Jalen Ramsey has had himself a year when it comes to locking the star receivers across the league down.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone under the radar, man. I'm talking about he's having guys that are going off for whatever they're going off for, show up, play the Rams, and they're topping out at 3 catches for minimal amount of yardage. You know what I'm saying? So like he's been locking down guys a lot. Will he be able to lock down Devontae Adams? I'm not sure, only because Aaron Rodgers is throwing to him. If he had anybody else throwing to him, this wouldn't even be a question mark for me. But even if he's just able to slow Devontae Adams down, that is going to be a huge problem for the Packers offense, because the Packers rely very heavily on Devontae Adams to carry them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that confident in Allen Lazard. I'm not that confident in Valdez-Scantling. I do like Tunyon, but outside of Tunyon and Devontae Adams passing the ball, I don't know who you can count on to be consistent within this Green Bay Packers offense. So if he's able to have any type of effect on Devontae Adams' play, this is going to be a close game, Mark. So I'm expecting this one to be a close game anyway. But I will say this, Mark. My predictions for the amount of yardage that Cam Akers is going to get is I expect Cam Akers to get 150 yards total between rushing and catching the ball at a minimum, Mark. At a minimum, he's getting you 150 yards total offense. He could go for 200 yards total offense in this playoff game. I just feel that Aaron Rodgers, I feel like this is a game that might come down to last possession type situation, and I'm going to always trust Aaron Rodgers in these moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
that's a good dark horse pick, though. Cam Akers is going to go off.
Yeah, and like I think just for shits and giggles, Devontae Adams has been killing it. I'm going to say Devontae Adams is going to go for 80 yards tops.
Bold prediction.
Well, yes. 80 yards.
All right.
80 yards tops, and I think Jalen Ramsey will follow him. Like it don't matter.
They absolutely have to.
Like it don't matter.
It's not even.
Don't matter where you go, he's going to follow you.
That's not an option. Yeah. So.
Okay. So next, lastly, it's time to promote, man. We promote and get out of here. Listen. So last weekend, guys, we out of the spur of the moment, we decided to do a live commentary broadcast for the playoffs in the NFL. Thanks to you guys out there, the people that are listening, the people that are paying attention to us, and some of the guys that were first timers. It worked out really well. We had a lot of people join in on the conversation. We had a lot of people join in with us randomly and join the live chat as well. The games themselves weren't too exciting, except for the Pittsburgh game was exciting from just how much they were blowing it. But we made it fun, and that's what we're looking to do this weekend. We're looking to make it fun for you guys, so you don't have to listen to Chris Collinsworth or whoever else say whatever.
Joe Buck.
Yeah, Joe Buck, whoever, just to listen to them try to fill space. We want to make it to where you guys have a good time, and you can ask us questions, personal questions we may not answer, but you can ask us personal questions, fun questions. Hey, hell, like we're going to set it up to where you can buy us a drink, and we're going to take a shot live on there, man. So you can sit down and have a drink with us as well. This is all going to be set up throughout on Saturday and Sunday for both slated games for the NFL playoffs. So join us this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We look forward to having you. Follow us at the Eye Test Network on YouTube. And obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you already know where to find us to listen.
Yep.
So,
And at when he says at the Eye Test Network, that's on all the major social media platforms. When I say major, I'm talking Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
yep, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us there. Check us out, man. We're looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend, man. And would appreciate you guys for listening to this episode. If you stuck with us for this long, hopefully you found us somewhat informative. If you found us ridiculous, hopefully it was at least entertaining. And with that being said, like, subscribe. We're on everything: Spotify, Google, Apple, all of it. You could just find us anywhere, man. So with that, got anything else?
Absolutely nothing, man. I can't wait to have you guys join us on Saturday, Sunday for some playoff madness when we cover the games.
Yeah. So, as usual, my usual sign off. You fuck with us, we fuck with y'all. Thank you. Peace.